Good morning, class. Today we're going to be going on a field trip, learning about the Mormon pioneers and the trail they took to get from Illinois to Utah. Our first stop is Nauvoo, Illinois. So the first thing I want you to do is double-click this Mormon Pioneer Trail, and it's going to take us to a view of the whole trail that they took from Nauvoo to Salt Lake, which is where we are now. So since our first stop is Nauvoo, I want you to double-click on this blue pin right here. And it's going to zoom in so that we can look at Nauvoo. And if you'll go over here and zoom in a little bit more, then we can look at the 3D building of the Nauvoo Temple. And now that you see that as a 3D building, I want you also to click over here at a picture of the Nauvoo Temple so you can see what it looks like in real life. That is a picture of the Nauvoo Temple. The activity that we're going to do here is look at the Nauvoo Neighbor, the historical newspaper from Nauvoo in the 1940s. So if you click on that blue pin and then click on Nauvoo Print Shop, it'll take us to a website where we can actually read the newspaper from the 1840s. And what I want you to do here is explore this website, read about the Nauvoo Neighbor, and then write a letter to the editor about what you read in the Nauvoo Neighbor. All right.
After the Mormon pioneers left Nauvoo, Illinois, they traveled to Winter Quarters, Nebraska. Many people died here, and as we travel to Winter Quarters, we're going to look at two different paintings and compare them to one another. We want you to look at how you think the people are feeling in each of these paintings and what the artist wants us to think about Winter Quarters as each artist painted these pictures. And also Winter Quarters, we can look at a picture of the Mormon Trail handcart statue. And this is a monument that's in Winter Quarters to show that the Mormons came through this area.
Let's move on to Chimney Rock, Nebraska. All right, here we are. In Chimney Rock, we're going to look at this picture, these three pictures of the actual Chimney Rock. Notice how tall this rock is. Can you imagine how excited the pioneers were to get to this landmarker? They frequently danced at night in order to remain happy. Watch this video of the Virginia Reel, and then we will learn it as a class.
Next, the pioneers went to Martin's Cove, Wyoming. At this stop, we're going to read two journal entries from pioneers who actually experienced the tragedies that happened at Martin's Cove. Read these journal entries, and then we want you to write a response about what you've learned. What happened at Martin's Cove? Why did so many people die there? And what if the rescuers had arrived earlier? Also, at Martin's Cove, we can see a picture of Devil's Gate, which is where the pioneers had to pass in order to get through.
The pioneers finally made it to Salt Lake City. When Brigham Young saw the Salt Lake Valley, he said, "This is the place." Watch the children. Watch the children on this video sing the song, "Utah, This is the Place." We are going to learn this song as a class, and then at the end of this unit, we are going to go on a field trip to This is the Place Park. Something else that you can explore when we're looking at the Salt Lake City place marker is this 360 view of Ensign Peak. So if you just go ahead and move the mouse around, you'll be able to look at all the different points of view of Ensign Peak. Thank you so much for going on this field trip with us. Oh, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the distance. We're going to measure the distance
from Nauvoo, Illinois, all the way to Salt Lake City, Utah, to see how far the pioneers traveled as they were moving across the country.
All right, so go ahead and get your pen and paper out, and we're going to click on the ruler up here, and we want you just to measure each distance and write it down. So see this length right here, we want you to write that down, how far they traveled from that point, and then we're going to add it to the next point. So clear that, and then we're going to add it to the next point. So keep doing that until you get to, keep adding those together until you get to all the way to Salt Lake. And then we're going to talk about how far they traveled. All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for going on this field trip with us. We're so excited that you got to learn about the Mormon pioneers.